The screen flickers once, just a soft pulse of static, right as I finish wiping the dust from my mother's old laptop. I freeze. That sound didn't come from the speakers. It felt closer, like something breathing beside the desk. I try to ignore it and keep scrolling through her files, but a hidden folder pops open on its own, revealing a bookmark I've never seen. A pale icon. No title. Just a blank square waiting to be clicked. My throat tightens. What records before the camera turns on? I hover my finger, pulse shaking, before tapping it. The browser opens a dark page, with thousands of images loading in a slow ripple. Every thumbnail is me inside this house. Some angles look wrong, taken from corners that don't exist anymore. My chest knocks. Who's typing when your hands are still? The newest image sits at the top, and it updates as I watch. It shows the living room, shows me. Shows the living room, shows me. And I'm not facing the camera. I'm facing away towards something I can't see. I try to tell myself it's some glitch, some cached image trick, but the air in the room feels wrong. Heavy. Almost listening. The photo keeps refreshing, each frame showing me a little more turned, like the camera is trying to catch my attention. My hands sweat onto the keyboard. I don't remember this house holding so many shadows. I don't remember the living room feeling so small. The laptop hum rises a little, like a low breath. Another thumbnail loads. A photo from years ago. I'm sitting on the floor with toys I barely recall owning. My mother is in the background, eyes blurred as if she moved at the wrong time. But when I lean closer, her face is turned toward the camera. Not in motion, not blurred, just watching. The next image loads before I can blink, and it's the same moment from a higher angle. Then another from inside the vent above. None of these angles existed. None of these places could have held a camera. And yet, the page keeps adding more. The page scrolls by itself. Smooth. Slow. Almost gentle. Like someone turning a photo album they know I'll try to resist. I pull my hand away from the mouse, but the photos keep sliding upward. Childhood me appears again and again in rooms I haven't stepped into since I was small. The colors look colder than I remember. The house feels bigger in the pictures, as though the walls breathed better back then. I try to stop the scroll, but the cursor doesn't move. In one of the frames, I see the kitchen doorway behind my younger self. Something tall stands there, blurred, bending slightly as if adjusting to fit the frame. My stomach drops. That shape has no right being there. I shut the laptop, but the screen doesn't fully turn off. A faint glow leaks from the edges, pulsing slow and patient like a heartbeat waiting for mine to sync with it. I step away from the table, but the floorboards creak in a rhythm that doesn't match my steps. One groan follows each pause, like something pacing with me from below. I tell myself this house always sounded like this, but the lie sticks in my throat. The laptop clicks softly, a notification chime I didn't trigger. When I glance back, the screen is open again. A new folder sits at the top. Home 1. Inside are pictures from today, from minutes ago. Me entering the house, me wiping the desk, me staring at the laptop. But each one has a shadow behind me, longer, darker, almost reaching. The last picture is different. It's taken from the doorway, showing the whole room. In the corner, right behind where I'm standing now, there's a shape that looks almost human but too thin, too straight, like someone drawing a person from memory and forgetting the details. The light dims even though the clouds outside haven't moved. I feel watched from above, below, and somewhere too close to name. I force myself to breathe slow, but every inhale feels borrowed. I open the laptop again, not because I want to, but because some part of me needs to know if the next picture has already been taken. The page refreshes. A single new thumbnail slides into place. I click it without thinking. The image fills the screen. It's the living room again, but darker, grainier, shot from inches above my head. The angle is impossible. Nothing could hover that high without being seen. My reflection in the window looks wrong, tilted, like it's captured from a moment that hasn't happened yet. Then I notice the far edge of the frame. Something pale peeks around the doorway. A face, not mine, not anyone's I know. The eyes are open too wide, waiting, watching. And the caption under the image just says, "Now." The house greets me with a thud so soft I almost mistake it for memory. I step into the hallway, and the air shifts like someone just hurried past. The floor feels uneven, as if boards underneath tilt slightly each time I move. I tell myself I'm imagining it, but the walls seem closer than they were yesterday. I run my hand along the paint, expecting dust, but it feels warm, almost pulsing. When I reach the living room, the furniture is wrong. The couch sits at an angle I swear I never placed it in. The lamp is on the opposite side of the room. Small changes, barely noticeable, but enough to make my skin tighten. I check the laptop again. More new pictures, taken seconds ago. One shows me at the couch even though I'm standing by the window now. Another shows me near the doorway, but my reflection in the glass is facing the wrong direction. My breath stumbles. The house is changing faster than I can follow. Or maybe I'm the one shifting inside it. I search for cameras even though I know they shouldn't exist. I pull books from shelves, lift cushions, run my fingers along the edges of mirrors. Nothing. Not even dust disturbed where a device might have been. Yet every time I pass a doorway, I feel something watching from the corners. Those narrow slits where light doesn't reach. A low hum rises from the vents. A soft, mechanical murmur, though the power in this house barely works. I kneel, checking inside the nearest vent. Cold air trickles out, steady, rhythmic, like slow breathing. Then I hear a faint click from behind me. I turn fast. Nothing. The laptop beeps again, a soft chime that crawls under my skin. Another photo uploaded. This time the angle is from inside the vent I'm staring into. It shows the back of my head and the outline of my hands gripping the metal frame. I jerk away, heart pounding. Something is inside these walls. Something that knows exactly where I'm looking. The deeper I search, the stranger the house becomes. I enter the dining room and stop cold. The table sits perfectly centered, even though I dragged it to the wall earlier to check beneath. The chairs, once mismatched, now line up like soldiers. Something is arranging this place with quiet intention. My mother used to mutter about the house resetting itself. But I always blamed stress, age, loneliness. Now I'm not so sure. My phone buzzes with no caller ID. I don't answer, but the vibration feels deliberate, like a reminder. On the table, a new picture loads on the laptop screen. A photo of the dining room taken from high above, as though a camera was perched on a ceiling beam. But there is no beam there. Not anymore. My reflection on the laptop screen looks delayed, lagging behind by a fraction of a second. A slow ripple of wrongness moves through the room. Not movement I can see, movement I can sense, like the house is shifting its weight. I move toward the back hallway, but something stops me, an unfamiliar door. A door I swear never existed. The paint on it matches the rest of the house, aged and cracked, but the doorknob gleams like it was polished recently. My fingertips tremble as I reach for it. The metal is warm. Too warm. Like someone just let go of it. I twist the knob slowly. It doesn't budge, locked from the inside. A soft thump sounds behind it, followed by a faint scrape, as though something shifts its weight in the darkness. I back away and nearly trip over the rug. The laptop beeps again. A new image appears. It's the same door, but in the picture it's open. A long, narrow hallway extends beyond, far longer than the house should allow. At the far end stands a small silhouette of a child. My chest tightens. I know that posture. It's me, but I never stood there. I never saw that door. The house is remembering someone I don't recall being. I don't want to open the laptop again, but the stillness in the house feels too expectant, like something is waiting for me to continue. When I lift the lid, the screen wakes instantly, bright and hungry. A new folder appears. Angles, too. The first image loads in a slow fade. It shows the living room from inside the wall. Boards framing the shot like ribs. Another shows the kitchen from beneath the floorboards. Another captures the top of my head from a point so close it feels like breath on my neck. I step away, but the next picture loads itself. This one freezes me. It's of the unfamiliar door again, but the angle is from just behind my shoulder. I'm not facing the camera, but the version of me in the photo is leaning closer to the knob, eagerly, like I want to enter. The final image makes my mouth go dry. It's taken from inside my chest, looking outward, ribs framing the edges like a cage. The caption below reads, "Inside." I wake before the sun, not because of any sound, but because the air in the house feels heavier than sleep can handle. The floor is cold under my feet as I walk toward the hallway, each step landing softer than the last, like the house wants me quiet. I reach the basement door without meaning to. The bolts look older than the wood itself, metal eaten by rust, but each one sits perfectly straight. I run my fingers over them and feel something familiar, something I can't name. My mother always avoided this place. She would lock the door fast, as if sealing something in. The laptop chimes from the living room. I turn, pulse jumping. A new folder. Below. Inside are pictures of me as a child standing at this very door. Same pajamas, same posture, same tilt of my head. But the expression is wrong. The child me looks eager, almost smiling. And behind that small shape, deeper in the dark, is a faint silver glint, like a lens catching light where no light should reach. I drag a chair to the doorway and sit, staring at the bolts like they might shift on their own. The house is quiet except for a slow ticking from inside the walls. The kind that doesn't match any clock I've ever owned. The laptop glows on the table behind me. I don't want to look, but every few breaths I feel the light brighten, like it's waiting for attention. Eventually I give in. A single new image loads from the below folder. It shows the basement door from the other side. The camera angle is tight, stuck between crates and something that looks like old wires. The only light in the picture comes from thin cracks around the doorframe. I lean closer, heart thudding. A silhouette appears in the lower corner of the image, small shoulders, slight frame. A child crouched near the door. My throat tightens. It's me, or at least the shape of me. The same pajamas, the same hair. But I never went down there. I was never allowed. I step away from the basement door and pace the living room, trying to steady my breath. The house seems to shift with each turn, corners bending in and out of themselves like slow inhaling. A soft knock comes from the front porch. I freeze. The knock repeats. 2 short taps, 1 long. I know that pattern. Jonah used to tap like that when we were kids. I open the door and there he stands. Older, heavier, eyes wide with something like guilt. He steps inside without waiting and glances around, like he expects the walls to listen. When I tell him about the photos, he doesn't look surprised. Instead, he swallows hard and says he remembers me playing with someone else in the basement. A friend I insisted was real. A friend he never saw clearly. A friend who whispered to me through the vents. My skin prickles. I tell him I don't remember any of that. Jonah only shakes his head and whispers, "You weren't supposed to." Jonah walks through the house like he's measuring old ghosts. He keeps glancing at corners, vents, and the ceiling beams, tracing paths I never noticed before. He stops at the basement door and stiffens. "It wasn't locked back then," he says quietly. I tell him it's always been locked, but he shakes his head again, slower this time, like he's afraid of the memory forming. He reaches out and touches the top bolt. His hand jerks away instantly. "Something moved," he whispers. I feel the metal. It's still, cold, completely still. Jonah steps back, rubbing his palm. I return to the laptop, dread sinking. A new photo waits. Jonah and I stand in front of the basement door, but the picture isn't taken from our side. It's taken from deep below, looking up at us through floorboards that shouldn't have gaps. Behind the boards is a shape, tall, thin. Watching, Jonah stares at the image and whispers, "That isn't new." Jonah steps away from the laptop and heads toward the kitchen, muttering that he needs a minute to breathe. I stay glued to the screen. More images upload, each one slower, like the page wants me to savor them. The newest folder opens itself. Friend. Inside are photos from angles that shouldn't exist. Behind door hinges, inside vents, peering from beneath bed sheets. Every frame shows a child, mine at age 9, but never alone. A tall silhouette kneels beside me in some pictures, blurred so heavily it looks like a smear of darkness. In others, the silhouette stands behind me with a hand on my shoulder. I feel my stomach twist. I whisper to myself that these can't be real, that I would remember something like this, but the last picture steals the breath from my lungs. It shows Jonah and me at age 9 playing near the basement door. Behind us stands the silhouette, clearer this time. A thin face, wide eyes, watching us both. And Jonah is smiling at it. Jonah refuses to look at the laptop anymore. He keeps pacing the living room, muttering under his breath like he's arguing with a memory he wishes he could forget. I sit in front of the screen anyway because the page keeps pulling me in with a quiet hunger. New images slide into a fresh folder labeled "Soon." The first one makes my breath snag. It shows me standing in the kitchen, but the picture is bright morning light, and there's a mug of coffee in my hand. I haven't moved from the couch. I haven't even stood up. Another image loads. Me opening the unfamiliar door in the back hallway. A third. Me walking down a staircase I've never seen. The page is showing me things I haven't done yet. Things the house hasn't revealed. Jonah leans over my shoulder to spite himself. "It's telling you where to go," he murmurs, voice thick. My stomach knots. Because he's right. The images aren't memories. They're instructions. And each one feels closer than the last. Jonah finally sits, rubbing his temples while I study the next image in the "Soon" folder. It's a tight shot of the unfamiliar door again. Only this time the photo shows it already cracked open. A dim glow spills from the gap, soft but sickly, like light filtered through old plastic. The next picture is worse. It shows my hand reaching toward that gap, fingers curled like I'm eager to slip inside. My real hand twitches in response, echoing the movement without meaning to. Jonah notices and grabs my wrist. "Don't do what it wants," he says. His voice isn't scared. It's pleading. But the house feels alive now, humming faintly through the walls, like it's listening to the argument. I hear a soft click from above, like a shutter buried in the ceiling beams. Then another from the floor. The laptop refreshes. A final image appears. A blurred silhouette behind me, guiding my hand toward the door. I swallow hard. The silhouette's posture looks familiar. Jonah insists we should leave, but the house doesn't agree. The door to the front porch slams before he touches it. A heavy vibration runs through the walls, like something shifting its frame into place. We stand frozen as the lights flicker in a slow rhythm, almost like breathing. Jonah edges toward the window and peers through the dust-coated glass. "There's someone in the yard," he whispers. My stomach drops. But when I look, the yard is empty. Only fog drifting across the grass. He backs away, pale. I saw a shadow. Tall. Thin. I don't tell him I've seen it too. The laptop chimes again. A new folder appears. Archives? Inside are pictures of the house's crawl space. The one I've never found. Old camera parts line the walls like a shrine. In one photo, a small figure crouches near the corner. Another shows a hand reaching from the dark, touching a lens with almost gentle care. The last image shows the crawlspace from deep inside, waiting. The crawlspace door appears where the wall used to be smooth. I don't even react with surprise anymore, just a slow, sinking acceptance. The hinges creak as I pull the small wooden panel open. A cold draft rises from the darkness, carrying the faint smell of chemicals, dust, and something like old film. Jonah grabs my shoulder. "Don't go in." I nod, but I'm already leaning closer. The walls inside are lined with lenses of every shape and size, some cracked, some gleaming like they were polished moments ago. A faint clicking echoes from deeper within, steady and patient. I lift my flashlight and see boxes stacked neatly in piles, each labeled with dates that stretch back decades. Dates from before my mother lived here. Dates from before I was born. A soft rustle makes me freeze. Something moves behind the boxes. The flashlight beam trembles. A tall shape rises slowly, head tilting with unnatural curiosity. I fall backward into the hallway as Jonah yanks me away from the crawlspace. The wooden panel slams shut on its own, rattling once like something inside pushed back. I sit against the wall, lungs struggling to catch up with fear. Jonah crouches beside me, eyes darting everywhere as though expecting the walls to open again. The laptop emits a long, low tone. Not a chime, not a notification. Something deeper. A new folder forms slowly on the screen. Future. The first image loads. It shows me standing outside the crawlspace door, hand on the panel. But I'm smiling faintly. So faintly, it looks like the expression was borrowed from someone else. The next image is worse. It shows Jonah alone in the hallway, looking over his shoulder at something approaching from behind him. The final image makes my hands go cold. It shows me again, but older in the picture, eyes hollow, standing in the basement. The caption reads, "After." Jonah sleeps restlessly on the couch, twisting like someone trying to escape a dream they can't wake from. I sit on the floor beside the coffee table, staring at the laptop as the screen dims and brightens in uneven pulses. The folder named Future keeps glowing, almost urging me to open it again. I don't. Instead, I scroll through older images, looking for anything familiar. Anything that proves my life happened the way I remember. But the more I scroll, the more my memories crumble. Pictures show me sleeping in places I never lived, wearing clothes I never owned. One photo shows me in my old apartment, body limp on the bed, but the timestamp says it's from years before I even moved. There, my mind claws for an explanation. Did I forget? Did someone stage these? Or did the house always watch me, even after I left? A soft rattle echoes behind the walls, like something pacing slowly. I whisper into the empty room. "What did you do to me?" The laptop answers with a new image. The newest image in the folder freezes me. It's the hallway outside my current apartment, the 1 mile away from this house. The picture shows the door cracked open just a sliver, like someone slipped inside without fully closing it. My stomach clenches. I click again. The next photo shows my bedroom in that apartment. The angle is low, from near the floor. I'm sleeping in the bed, curled toward the wall, completely unaware. But the timestamp says the image is from 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I lived in a different city. More photos appear. Me brushing my teeth, me cooking, me working late, all from impossible dates, all from impossible angles. My mouth goes dry. Someone followed me long before I knew this page existed. Jonah wakes to the sound of my breath shaking. He looks at the screen, then at me. "You watched," he whispers. "Everywhere." I whisper back, "By who?" But we both know the answer is already in the walls. Jonah tries to help piece the timeline together, but every photo he examines only makes the room feel colder. He whispers that some memories can be overwritten, replaced by stronger ones. I shake my head. I don't feel like I've forgotten. I feel like something else remembered for me. The laptop screen flickers, and a new folder appears. This one labeled with a question. Wall. The word stabs at some buried instinct. I click it. A single image fills the screen. It's a blueprint of the house, but the walls look thicker than they should be, layered like skin around bone. A red circle marks the living room wall beside the couch. Jonah and I stare at it, then look at the actual wall. It's uneven, slightly bulged, almost breathing. Another image appears automatically. It shows the same wall from inside. A hollow space, a narrow gap. In the corner of that small cavity sits a pile of old camera lenses. My heart hammers. What's inside that wall? Jonah whispers. I don't answer. I'm already standing. I grab a flathead screwdriver from my mother's old toolbox. The metal feels cold, too cold. Like it hasn't been touched in years, despite being in a warm room. Jonah tries to stop me, but I push the tool into the seam where the wall bulges. The plaster cracks with a soft pop, followed by a sigh that sounds disturbingly alive. I wedge deeper, pulling back pieces of drywall. Dust floats out, slow and heavy like it's been waiting. The hole widens, revealing a pitch-black cavity. Jonah shines his phone light inside. The beam catches something metallic, small glints scattered like teeth. Lenses, dozens of them. Some stacked, some set carefully on wooden boards. My pulse pounds in my ears. The laptop emits a single soft chime. Another image uploads. This one shows my hand breaking into the wall, but the angle is from deep inside the cavity. Jonah swears under his breath and backs away. I keep staring into the darkness. Something shifts inside, just beyond the beam of light. The room feels colder the moment I put my hand into the cavity. The air inside has weight, thick and stale, like it hasn't moved in decades. My fingers brush something smooth, glass maybe, and a soft click echoes, as if I triggered a silent shutter. The laptop screen brightens again. A final image loads into the wall folder. It's the cavity I'm reaching into, but the shot is from inches behind my hand. Some presence is inside, watching my fingers crawl toward it. I yank my arm back. Jonah grabs my shoulder, whispering my name like a warning, but the laptop isn't done. Another photo appears without any folder at all, glowing at the center of the screen. It shows the wall fully cracked open, pieces scattered on the floor, and me kneeling in front of a figure crouched inside the cavity. A tall shape, thin limbs, wide eyes. The caption under the image reads, "Remember." A chill runs through me, because part of me does. The house is too quiet after that last image, like it's holding its breath with us. Jonah keeps whispering that we should run, that none of this is worth staying for. But something in me has already crossed a line. I can't walk away now. Not when the wall itself feels like a door I've opened before, even if I can't remember when. I move toward the cavity again, feeling the cold leaking from it, brushing across my skin like fingers. Jonah's voice cracks as he tells me to stop, but his words drift like they're coming from another room. I kneel and pull away the last chunk of drywall. The flashlight trembles in my hand. The cavity is deeper than it should be, far deeper. The beam reveals cramped wooden planks, dust thick as fog, and stacks of old film canisters arranged in neat rows. Then I see it. A hollow in the corner shaped like a person had been sitting there for years. The The wood is worn smooth, curved by time and weight. I whisper, "Who lived here?" But the answer feels closer than my own thoughts. Jonah begs me to step back, but I crawl inside the wall before I can talk myself out of it. The wood groans under my weight, the sound low and aching, like I'm waking something up. The air is tight, pressing against my shoulders as I shuffle forward. My flashlight catches a glimmer, a lens half buried in dust. Another lens. Then dozens, some cracked, some pristine, some arranged in patterns like constellations. I reach for one and freeze. A faint exhale drifts past my ear. Not warm, not cold, just there. I whip around, but Jonah is too far behind to have made the sound. My breath stutters. Then the laptop, still open in the living room, chimes softly. Jonah crawls halfway in and hands me his phone. A new image has uploaded. It's me, inside the wall, taken from inches behind my head. Except there's nothing behind me, except darkness. Jonah's face drains of color. "Something's in there with you," he whispers. The air shifts. The dust moves. I push deeper despite Jonah's shaking voice calling my name. The crawl space narrows, ribs of the house bending around me. It feels like moving down a throat. My flashlight beam slides over more film canisters stacked with impossible precision, each labeled with dates stretching decades apart. The deeper I go, the older the canisters look. Tin rusted, labels cracked. A soft ticking echoes ahead, steady like a heartbeat trapped in metal. I inch forward until the space widens into a cramped chamber. The walls curve slightly, wood warped into a ball shape. At the center sits a tripod fused to the floor, an ancient camera mounted on top. Its lens is pointed directly at the entrance I crawled through, waiting, watching. I can't breathe for a moment. Then the camera clicks. No flash, no film advance, just a single mechanical blink. Jonah shouts from behind me, voice breaking, but I can't turn away from the lens. It feels like it remembers me. Jonah squeezes into the chamber behind me, breathing hard, barely fitting in the tight space. "We need to go," he pleads, but his voice sounds muffled, like the walls are swallowing his words. I reach for the old camera, hand shaking. The wood beneath my knee creaks softly, as if leaning in. The lens is cracked slightly, but the center is clear, too clear, like an eye staring back. I brush dust from it and recoil. Inside the reflection, the chamber looks different, cleaner, brighter, and a small shape sits in the corner. A child curled up, knees to chest, head tilted. I blink hard. The reflection shifts, and the shape stands, slowly, unnaturally. Jonah grabs my shoulder, pulling me back, but the camera clicks again, and this time, the sound feels deeper, like something opening behind us. A soft scraping echoes through the chamber, not from the camera, from the hollow in the corner, the one shaped like a person had lived there. Something is moving within it. Jonah pulls me toward the crawl space entrance, panic breaking through his voice, but I resist. I can't leave, not yet. Something inside the hollow shifts again, slow and deliberate, like a body unfolding after too much stillness. The flashlight beam trembles as I turn it toward the corner. For a second, the dust scatters in the air like breath. Then I see it. Eyes, wide and pale, blinking through layers of shadow. A tall, thin shape rises, its joints bending like it's remembering how to stand. My lungs seize. Jonah grips my arm hard enough to hurt. "We have to go," he whispers, voice cracking. The camera clicks behind us, capturing the moment like it's been waiting years. I scramble backward through the crawl space, dragging Jonah with me. The shape moves faster now, scraping against wood, following. As we tumble into the hallway, the panel door slams shut behind us with a sound that shakes the floor. The laptop chimes once. A new folder appears. Inside, the first image is us crawling out. The second is the shape right behind us. The hallway feels smaller now, like the walls have leaned inward to listen. Jonah keeps staring at the crawlspace panel, certain it will open again. I try to steady my breath, but the house hums with a quiet pulse that crawls under my skin. The laptop glows from across the room, brighter than before, casting long, thin shadows that don't match our movements. A new folder forms slowly, each letter typing itself like a whisper. Basement. The word hits me with a weight I can't shake. The bolts on the basement door seem sharper, cleaner, as if freshly placed. My mother spent her life locking that door. I spent mine pretending I never wondered why. Jonah mutters that we should smash it open, but I know we won't need to. A low click echoes through the hallway, metal shifting, bolts sliding back one by one. The door opens an inch, exhaling stale, warm air that smells like chemicals and old paper. Jonah steps behind me. I grab the handle. The house quiets, waiting for us to go down. The basement stairs groan as we descend, each step sounding like a slow warning. The air grows thicker, warmer, wrapped in a chemical scent that makes my eyes sting. A faint red glow pulsates from the bottom, steady and soft, like a heartbeat behind a curtain. Jonah keeps whispering my name, but it feels distant, swallowed by the descending dark. When my foot touches the basement floor, everything goes quiet. No hum, no shifting wood, just a silence so complete it presses against my ears. Then the lights flicker on, not modern bulbs, rows of old CRT monitors lining the walls, each humming faintly. The screens brighten one by one, revealing our images from impossible angles. The stairs above, the hallway, the crawl space, the attic, even my old apartment miles away. Jonah steps closer, breath shaking. "These are live," he murmurs. I nod, because I can feel it too. Each screen isn't just showing us, it's watching us. The deeper we walk into the basement, the more the monitors shift their angles, tracking us with slow, curious movements. Wires crawl across the ceiling like veins, feeding into a central station built from stacked old equipment. At its center sits a single high-backed chair facing a wall of screens. The chair is perfectly still, perfectly centered, as though someone just stood up from it. Jonah whispers that we should leave, but I'm already stepping closer. Something about the chair feels familiar, like I've seen it in dreams I never remembered clearly. The screens flicker again. New images appear. Me and Jonah entering the basement, taken from behind. Another shows us from above, though there is nothing above except concrete. Then a picture loads that makes my throat tighten. It shows the chair, occupied. A tall, thin silhouette sits in it, facing the screens. The timestamp says, now. Jonah stumbles back. I turn slowly toward the chair. The chair is empty, or at least it looks empty. But the air around it feels disturbed, like someone just rose from sitting there for hours. Jonah whispers my name again, urging me to back away. But something in the screens pulls my attention. Every monitor glitches at once, lines tearing through the images like claws scratching film. Then the distortion clears, and a new set of images appears. Childhood photos. Me at 9 years old, standing in the basement. Smiling at the camera, I feel my pulse slow, like the pictures are dredging up a memory I buried deep. I step closer. The next photo loads. This time, the silhouette stands beside me, arm resting on my shoulder. Jonah curses softly, backing toward the stairs. The screens flicker again. A final image loads. It shows the basement exactly as it is now, but with the silhouette standing directly behind me. Jonah's voice cracks. "Elias, don't turn around." But I already feel the breath on my neck. I force myself to turn. Slow, controlled, even as every instinct screams to run. The basement feels colder, like the house is holding its breath again. Jonah stands frozen halfway up the stairs, eyes wide, mouth open, but silent. Behind me, inches away, stands the shape from the photos, tall, thin, posture impossibly straight. Its face is pale, stretched smooth like old film left in heat too long, and its eyes, wide, unblinking, reflecting the glow of every monitor in the room. It steps closer, and the screens change with it. Each monitor displays the same new image, me, staring back, standing beside the archivist, as if this moment has already been recorded, as if it always existed. The archivist raises one hand and rests it lightly on my shoulder. The basement lights dim. The screens brighten. Jonah screams my name, but his voice sounds far away. A final image uploads on the laptop upstairs. Caption: Join.